Welcome, shitsticks! I'm so glad you're able to join me today as I spew out random thoughts from my mouth. Today we're going to be talking about something I talked before, but new? That's right. This week saw the release of Fractured Butthole, the next installment in the South Park RPG-averse. And it's good. Oh, hold on. I've got more mouth vomit to spew, so it's a bit early for that. I'll begin with the fact that in the first game, I laughed more at the references that the game tried to make. Namely the summons, the Chim Pokemon collectibles, getting Okama game spears everywhere, and even the first time that the Underpants Gnomes appeared out of nowhere. Regular comedy seemed to be missing in action, and if we were to use a metaphor to describe this, the first one would be like a love note to the series. Whereas the Fractured Butthole seems like a 15-verse sonnet composed in the series' honor. The Stick of Truth was cute and had homages to the show scattered here and there randomly, peppering a decent turn-based traditional RPG with South Park references. This game actually plays like a show episode.
That's right, Coon. I have strategically placed lava throughout the town. I can't make it too easy for you. What good is the world without a little chaos? Okay, turn it off now.
The basic feel of the first game is all there. Meandering around the town, having quick travel points, and interactables that you can raid at your leisure for various items. But as with most sequels, the Fractured Butthole seems to have steeped in that RPG goodness, and come out the other side with a crafting system, more collectibles, more shit to do, and insane numbers of achievements to hunt, if you're into that sort of thing. The game feels nice and polished. A little too polished in my opinion. Now before I start shitting all over it, I will say this. Of what I've played thus far, I've enjoyed it. And full disclosure here, in case you, kind viewer, are attempting to make a judgment on getting this game based on anything I say here, which is a bad idea, mind you, is that I've only had about 3 hours or so into the game. Which, if we're going by Brutal Legend standards, would make it Game of the Year 2009 through 2018.
Decapitation!
On second thought, that game is definitely worth a playthrough. Even though it has bad RTS-y stuff scattered throughout. It's worth it to enjoy the weird humor and awesome ending. But I digress. The 3 hours or so by which I've had with the game has given me a relatively clear picture of how the rest is going to play out. I will continue getting more and more powerful artifacts, fill out the rest of my character sheet, and eventually spend close to maybe 35 hours in total looking for every bit of treasure / every Coonstagram follower that I can find before finally resolving the main story. Which, as of my understanding now, is to find and rescue an elderly feline for money. Definitely seems like a setup for the world's longest and most involved South Park episode to me. Now here comes the part where I shit all over it. Warning. Old man rant ahead. My biggest beef with the Fractured Butthole is that there's entirely too much to do. It's kind of crazy, really. From what I can derive, you have to catch kitties, run around town collecting yaoi posters, get followers on Coonstagram, and I'm sure there's another mechanic by which I haven't encountered yet that will likely take up more and more hours of my time. And the game, from what I can tell based on story and padding, will probably, as I said earlier, come up to around 35 hours worth of content. And I think the Stick of Truth was around 12 hours at best, had a very serviceable linear path story, and allowed me to get all the collectibles in that 12-hour time. And again, this may not apply to the younger viewers in the audience, but 50-hour work weeks have left me with very little time by which I can dedicate toward gaming. Younger me would have been like, oh hell yeah, bring on the hours. But older me is tired and broken. And remember me saying the game felt too polished? Well, I guess it has this veneer because the company behind the development, not Obsidian, has plans to get quite a bit of money off this franchise with DLC planned and in-store purchases. Yes, my friends, even having the Uplay logo sitting in my taskbar makes me feel the same as that damned Origin icon hanging out next to it. I don't like having to install extra shit to play the game that I want to play. Why hell, even as I typed that sentence, the Uplay application encountered a critical failure and died. The takeaway of this is that I bought it on Steam, and I want to play it on Steam. Not Uplay, don't want to see that crap on my machine. Old man rant over. That being said, console players won't have this issue, as the Uplay store is built in with the software on the PS4 and Xbox, and from what I can tell, it doesn't really affect the gameplay that much. Which brings us around to the conclusion. Will you enjoy this? Hell yeah! Even if South Park isn't your shtick, you can still get the occasional chuckle at the absurdity of fighting Raisins Girls, combat being interrupted for a passing car.
Fire breath attack. Rtug gets his hammer of heavenly rain. You can't stop the kid. Car.
Stay out of the street, damn kids!
Clear.
Or just simply bursting into everyone's homes and crapping in their toilets. And to add to this value, if you buy the Fractured Butthole, you manage to snag a copy of the Stick of Truth for free. This brings the initial value of the game up in my mind, as it bundles 2 games essentially into the $60 price point. Good deal. The game is gorgeous, and the gameplay is rock-solid tabletop-founded RPG goodness. So yeah, Ubisoft did a good job on it. And for what it's worth, it gets this old man's stamp of approval.